Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hot Takes League of Legends edition. And it's a biggie this week. I'm told there's some sort of important tournament happening soon. And you're going to be there, Davide. Are you ready?
Not really, but also very, very hyped. Finally, it's my time of the year. After you had your time in Paris, now it's my time in China. How was it, by the way, yours?
It was good. It was like crazy busy. And I kind of feel like, especially after the first couple of days, that like everyone else in the press room kind of hated me a little bit. Um, but
Why is that?
I don't know if they like. I don't really know if they did, but I just got really jammy with interviews. So like when you go to like Worlds or like any of the big events it was the last 3 days of it. So like getting interviews is like pretty difficult. And I'd pretty much like had accepted I'll go and I'll ask for them, but I'm probably not going to get any, and I'll just do like general coverage that's not interviews. Um, and then the first day there was two best of threes happening, and we were told, or I was told by one of the right guys that the teams have to do minimum 2 interviews. So they can do more. Like Fnatic, I
Only?
think we're doing loads. So there was a minimum of 8 interviews available that day. There could have been more, and there definitely was. But I got 3 on the first day. So I got 3 out of the 4 teams gave me one. And then the second day, there was interviews, and it was just one best of 5. So I was like, okay, well, I used up all my luck on the first day. I'm not going to get nothing. And then I got 2 again. I got 1 with each team again. And the Fnatic one was Boaster as well, and that was the last day for interviews. So I got Boaster like the night before the grand final. Um,
My guy
so yeah,
created jealousy.
yeah. So I almost felt a little bit bad, like getting so many, to be honest. But there we go. But yeah, it was crazy tiring. Someone gave me some delicious snacks to keep me going. That was really nice. Although when he gave them to me, for some reason he gave them to try with his fingers. He touched them with his fingers and then gave them to me, which was a bit strange. So hopefully he's not the one that made me ill. Hey,
Ew.
hey,
Bro,
Ethan.
I washed my hand, no? Or
Huh?
maybe not when I
I
get to
don't know.
your maybe not.
He's getting the revenge for the spicy food
Yeah,
from
exactly.
from
Because I
Madrid.
gave you good stuff while you just gave me pain, man. So you see, that's how you get. You have to taste my fingers too, is it?
I mean,
And
if you
now,
think about it, though, he gave you El Fuego, He
Yeah,
gave
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
fire.
but now I like, as of this morning, I am unironically ill. So I'm hoping that's not you. Or was it poisoned? I don't know. I'm not accepting
No,
food from
no.
you anymore.
But I
Um.
was I was just coming out of the metro, so maybe my hands were
Oh
poisoned.
no.
It's possible actually.
By the way,
Thank you.
insane final, man. By the way, like
Oh, it
like
was crazy.
in case no one watched it, like holy moly, that was
So basically the final, yeah, was the best of 5. NRG against Fnatic. So Fnatic probably were the favourites. NRG had like gone on like a miracle run to get there, and then NRG smashed them the first 2 games. So it was 2-0, 1 match away from winning champs. And then in the third map, NRG were 11-1 up, and you only need 13 rounds to win the game. So it's basically like in League being like 2-0 up, and then you've got like a 15k gold lead at 25 minutes or something. Like it was that level of like, okay, Fnatic are just fucked. It's done. And
that
it was
was
a bit,
like
and it was a
EDG
shame.
DRX level of
Yeah.
EDG DRX level of match series
So
from
at
Worlds.
that point, it was like
Um,
a bit of a shame. It's like not that I kind of did want Fnatic to win. I'm not gonna. I won't
mhm.
lie, but it was also just the fact that it was going to be just so one-sided. It was like, oh well, that was a bit kind of underwhelming. And then somehow Fnatic from a level 1 down won that map, which was just crazy. So they won. Uh, NRG did get 1 round, I think, before overtime, but so Fnatic won like 11 out of the next 12 rounds. It's
Yeah.
the biggest single map comeback in VCT global history.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest comeback possible is like 12-0 to come back from that. So they're only kind of 2
And
rounds
it
away
never
from,
happened. And it never happened.
not in like a global event. I don't know about maybe lower tiers and whatnot, but at global, that
Okay.
was the biggest one. So then Fnatic won the second map, and you're like, oh my god, they've got the momentum now. They're actually going to do the reverse sweep. And then NRG won the final map, and Fnatic kind of whimpered a bit in the last map as well. But they said they were just like exhausted and everything, which you can kind of imagine.
And
Um,
have you seen like the story about Buster crying and Li Shun taking photos of him? Like it was very very moving. Like
yeah,
actually, Buster and sorry, what's his name? Li Shun. They had a restaurant where they talked about taking pictures at hard times, for players when they just suffered a loss or something.
that
And Li
other
Shun said
person's
that
a
he,
photographer, just to make that clear as well.
yeah. And
My
Li Shun
boy.
is the photographer, and Li Shun's like Buster asked to Li Shun if he took photos of him losing the first time. I think it was a master or a champions grand final or something, and Buster said and Li Shun said no because he was too emotive, And then Buster told him that the next time he would cry on stage, he need to take picture of him, and he took like insane pictures, like actually insane pictures. You guys want to see those? And yeah, that was a very interesting story to tell, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, like Boaster was like, it was sad seeing him go off stage. Like
Yeah,
he
sure.
basically got carried off. Like on the broadcast, like you see him, like you see Yinsu, who is his girlfriend, come out and like kind of start trying to get around him, and they're slowly getting him off. And then on the broadcast, it cut off because like NRG were about to lift the trophy. In the stage, in the stadium, you could see him like he like could barely walk. He was just like stopped and like still on the stage and was like sobbing, and they were like having to like drag him off basically. By the time they got to the press conferences, though, like all of Fnatic were like in pretty good spirits, so it wasn't like totally depressing the whole time. Because I know last year when they went out of champs, I think he like broke down in the press conference as well, and
Yeah,
then people
I
like shared
remember.
the clips saying that they need to kick him and all like off of that and stuff, which was really horrible. So it was nice that they were kind of in decent spirits. And then there's pictures come out of like the after party that all Fnatic and NRG were there together and ended up all right. But and also he said
Did
he's
you
not
go? Did
retiring.
you go to the after party?
No, I didn't get invited,
Oh, okay.
sadly. Um,
Unlucky,
it was all like
no Madrid 2.0.
yeah, but it was all the co-streamers. It was all the actual famous people in the pictures anyway. So and
Sure,
also,
famously.
if you say so.
Don't undervalue yourself.
And one thing Faker fucking hell, Boaster said in the press conference he's not retiring as well, because that was a worry. Because he'd been talking like in interviews with me even like earlier in the year he'd been saying things like you never know when it's your last one, you never know if you go into a global event again, and then the only other thing is like half of Fnatic's team's contract is up at the end of the season, including his. So you don't know if like this core that's been together for ages will stay. But anyway, we're not here to talk about champs. We're here to talk about the World Championship of League of Legends and do some team rankings. So the way we're
Actually,
gonna
are people still? Do you think there's still people that are calling World Championship of League of Legends?
I just did.
I really wonder. No, but like, yeah, but you
Am I
did
not a
for
person to you?
the. No, but you did like to get it more big, But like, are there genuine person that say that like in a normal way, I'm not sure
What
about
way
that.
did I say it
I'm
in?
not... You try to make it bigger, by saying that, no?
But yeah, I think I would usually say Worlds.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
Well, anyway.
anyway, so what we'll do, so we'll do team rankings and then we'll do positional rankings, and just so we don't take like 4 hours to do it, I'll reveal the top 10, and then if there's any like outliers, we can run through those as well.
Discuss it, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's crack on, shall we? So all hidden for now. So I'm just trying to get on my other screen the results as well, so I can see at the same time. Okay, I'm ready. So number 10.
Next level of production.
Maybe I'll do like a few at a time. I'll cut halfway and then we'll do the top 5.
Yeah, do halfway.
So in the top 10, going from 10 to 6, we've got CFO, G2, FlyQuest, IG, and Anyone's Legend.
By the way, just to preface, like the ranking were done based on 5 of us from the Hotspawn team. It's us 3 plus our guy Philip and then Daniel, who joined in also, to do the votes. Each one could decide to basically vote how they ever wanted the teams to be, and then based on the ranking from each person, we would count out the average. And
Yeah.
so that's why you see the average on the right side,
Yeah,
and then
so, like-
basically based on that value, you get ranked.
So like
on the
CFO, for
total
example,
power.
9.6. Out of the 5 of us, on average, they were placed in place 9.6. So like
Yeah.
2 9s and 3 10s makes it 9.6. That kind of thing. Good. Yeah, good.
Each one came with
clarify.
their own criteria. I'm not sure if you want to talk about this, but like I'm taking consideration like somewhat like past record for, of course, recent form, and then also kind of potential. Like I'm not really sure how to quantify it in that sense, but just like taking like also kind of setting up the expectations of how I see a team potentially performing at this Worlds, and not just like the whole season, you know.
I was doing the logo designs that I like the most. Thought that's what everyone was doing. So, no, to be fair, like especially like some of the well, it's not even minor regions anymore because there's only 5 regions, but like LCP and like some of NA stuff, like I don't see much of that. So, I'm I'm throwing darts on a few of them. I'm not gonna lie. But when it comes to the big ones, it is I was kind of thinking as well about like previous years or like not just kind of what's going on right now, but then how we kind of usually see these teams at internationals. And then I guess see how that shakes up with TES as well, especially 'cause that's like a bit polarizing. Maybe we do number 5 then.
But
Go on.
wait, I think I have something to say about it. Like, there's something about CFO being tense that to me is not very correct. But like, of course, it's an average, right, of all of our rankings. But and also outside of that, I wanted to say that at least one of G2, Fly, CFO, or maybe another team will make it out of Sweets anyway, you know, because like we have IG sevens, but there's a chance that IG doesn't even play at Worlds. And I think there's actually a big chance, you
Yeah.
know, because
There's a chance T1 doesn't play at Worlds, you know.
yeah, but I'm not gonna lie, Davide is looking rough. I'm not gonna lie,
mean,
it's looking rough.
I'm fine with.
If Wei plays as he plays during the summer, it's gonna be rough against Honor. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
I'm fine. I'm happy either way. Just to
Okay.
put it out there.
Yeah,
To
that's
not
true.
get
That's what you want
and
fan.
neither of the fans enraged.
Mm.
Yeah, it didn't. The
Mm.
irony wasn't lost on me that, like, yeah, literally, I was thinking as I was putting them in, like, one of these teams. And we had this discussion. I don't know if we talked about it on here or it's just when we were in Madrid, but
Also Madrid.
yeah,
yeah.
one of these teams is not really going to be in Worlds. Like whoever loses, I don't really feel like they went to the World Championship. But that's kind of like a personal take anyway.
Yeah, and honestly, like same personal taste. I think that IG is not. I don't think they are much better than Fly, G2, or CFO, for example. I don't even think they're better, to be honest. But right now, if they don't step up, actually they can step up because we all know it's clutch. These are clutch players, you know. These are players that can step up on the big stage, but these are also players that can fumble. I'm thinking of Wei. I'm thinking of Gala, who's always fumbling in quarterfinals at Worlds. And even though he did a crazy summer split, and probably like every year, I feel like every year Gala, for example, we're gonna talk about it maybe later, but every year Gala is doing a crazy summer split, way better than the rest of the season, and then plays very good in Swiss stage and then fumble in quarterfinals. So now let's see if he can get to the quarterfinals, because if he wants to, he will have to beat the big dog first, you know. So yeah, and outside of that, CFO tense, I'm not sure about it because, like, actually CFO
You've got them
made
seventh.
a better results, than both Fly and G2 at MSI, right? They even beat Fly at MSI in a best of 5, you know. So yeah, I'm kind of wondering how it will go, but to me, CFO is a bit underrated in this ranking already.
Well, we're lucky we've got them in the top 10 because I'm looking at the individual ones, and Philip put them 14th out of 17 teams.
Yeah,
So,
I guess
so
I think
Ethan, you've
actually
dragged them in
that's
there.
yeah. I think it's like some of the ranking like was a little bit scuffed. I think because I rated them like 9th. I actually rated them as the best non LCK LPL team. Because like Ethan said, I actually agree. I'm actually also more convinced the fact that like not just judging by what happened at First Stand and MSI, because we have to consider that CFO
Of
is
course, yeah.
literally the only team that made it to all the international this year, which is kind of
Yeah.
crazy if
Yeah.
you put it that way. They dominated the LCP every split, and I think they're a really solid team. I think that, however, like if we just judge by potential, like peak potential, I think Fly might have a little bit more. I think G2 is very close to them, so it's fair that we have, like, for me,
Yeah, that's
Fly G2 CFO are clearly in the same ballpark. If we had
Yeah.
to like create a tier, it's just that it just didn't matter in the matter of who shows up on the day and stuff like that. I still think like IG is kind of like half a tier above them if we put it that way, but they're also more volatile. So you could get like the best IG could go against like the top teams, but also like the worst version of it that's probably like MCOI level or like even lower than that. By the way, it's still so funny that we got MCOI or everyone at 12.
Really?
That was like, yeah. Like if you look at it, like at the
Oh, yeah.
individual ones, so there's like all the
Just
logos
only chill,
up and down, and there's like a line of MCOI logos
Yeah.
in.
Oh, we're close to having a line of unread chiefs at the 17th place too, Davide. You kind of ruined it.
Yeah. I mean,
I've just realised
I
something.
believe in 100T.
I'm just I'm
Yeah.
checking against the. I've got the spreadsheet up on my phone, so I could check like the details.
Yeah.
I think I missed a team out when I was writing this. So it actually goes.
Oh.
The top 5, I think, is going
What
to
did you miss?
be fine.
Yeah, I was thinking about KT Rollster. Where are they?
Me too. So it goes. Anyone's legend was there, and then it's KT, then IG,
Ooh, so CFO is
Ooh.
not
Then
even in the
Fly.
top 10 now.
then and then
Ripped.
CFO.
Honorable mention, I guess.
Okay, fair.
Okay.
I think
Well,
the numbers next to them are right. Now they're right anyway. CFO were
Yeah. They
CFO
are.
had a
Yeah.
10 point, had a 10 on the dot.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Well,
It's
we've
okay, but,
kind of revealed what the next one might. Oh no, we haven't actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's go. So number
No,
5.
we just added KT. Yeah.
Number 5, Top Esports.
They're kind of low, guys. You're really not
I feel like this
believers
is
of
just
Top
like
Esports, are you?
it's just the being burned by them so many times on internationals, and it's funny because like I know some of these kind of when you have these narratives like over years about certain teams when half the time it's like kind of semi bullshit because they change their players anyway, and then so it doesn't really relate.
Yeah.
But TES, like, it seems to actually not matter if they've changed players. Like, they just genuinely do fumble every time. So that's
Yeah.
where I'm kind of
I mean, they're still Jackie Love, if you
Yeah.
put it that way,
Yeah.
You think they should have
even
been
though
higher? Where
Jam
did you have them, Ethan?
left, I guess.
You had them. Oh, you had them 4th,
Yeah, like
and so did
to
I.
me on paper T1 should be below them. I'm not gonna lie, but I know that it might be a bit. No, but on paper, bro. On paper, you don't agree on paper? Really?
No, I don't
Well, then
agree.
IG has no chance. Then IG has no chance. What are you talking about?
But like, I'm actually like, my expectation is like a 3-0-3-1 for T1. Cause like,
Okay.
had it not been for the loser bracket series between T1 and Gen.G, where T1 pushed Gen.G to a 5 game, I would have probably said the same. It's just that series told me like, oh, just T1 had a really bad tough series against Hanwha Live. Just like Gen.G had a really tough series against KT.
Yeah.
And then they just like kind of brought it back. It's just that the seeding and the whole thing format like didn't allow them to just get any higher because they had to play literally the best team, and then like even Hanwha Life in the rematch against Genji weren't able to like push them to 5 games, you know.
Hmm.
So like from my perspective, while I was doing them, because like I was wondering like am I really going to have like all LCK teams above the LPL teams? And can I really put top esports above BLG after they lost the LPL
Nah.
finals? And it was like, okay, so you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's the fifth one. So I put them
Okay.
fifth.
But the thing is also it's T1 at Worlds, right? So like it's TS from one side it's TS at Worlds, and from the other side it's T1 at Worlds. So honestly, we have to be biased about it. You know, we have to take in consideration history when you
Yeah,
see
but of
those two
course,
teams.
I think like I always, like I said, I consider past performances as a somewhat important criteria. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And
it's
especially when
fine.
it's that repetitive, you know, when it's like
Yeah.
always relevant, you know, to put them in consideration. So yeah, I actually can agree. But if I have to base myself only on recent results, on summer results, which should be the way actually, because it's not the same team as it was last year or the year before, even though it's kind of the same players, but it's still not the same team. Like it should not be the same team. It might happen that they are the same team and that they just win everything again. I won't be surprised, to be honest, but it shouldn't be on paper. So yeah, I'm just wondering whether it's gonna work out that way again. And if it is next year, I swear I put TS behind the 10th place and I put T1 first. Whatever
There,
happens, okay?
there's one thing. There's one thing about TES that I think might be an advantage for them. It's actually the Swiss stage format. Because
Mm,
like, if we go by their season, they literally dominated all regular season where there were BO3s. Or like they usually win games when it's like very short
yeah,
series. I think there's like one particular reason behind that is like the fearless draft, and it's mainly tied to the amount of champion pools the players can play. Because like you
especially
obviously
Cream,
have,
yeah.
yeah, especially Cream. It's mainly like you have Kanavi Jack Lever that can literally play anything. You know that 369 can kind of play a little bit of everything, but it's like when you start burning so many mid lane options, it becomes very tricky for Tess to actually pull off BO5s because they get to game 4, game 5 in case they're pushed to those games where they do not really have many options left. And so I think like with that logic, if you go into a Swiss stage where it's like BO1s and BO3s to actually go through, I think it will actually be a little bit easier for them. So I just rated them like lower, but I still think actually like TES and BLG, which we can kind of guess where they might be next,
And
are
and if you
still in kind of the same tier. Just like I had to place one above and one lower, you know.
Yeah, and if you want to kind of find a counter argument to it, T1 is kind of the same, but the opposite. Like it's not the opposite, but T1 tend to ramp up at Worlds, right?
Yeah.
They usually don't start the best way, and actually now it will be very important for them to start the best way because if they don't, they might go out without even playing a game of the Swiss stage, right? But
True.
but yeah, so it might be that at first place maybe TS will look better than T1. Actually, it's what happened last year at World exactly. Like the TS won against T1 in Swiss stage and then got 3-0'd in knockout stage. So it might be kind of the same story this year, to be honest. But yeah, first T1 need to start strong with IG.
Just thinking as well, well, we'll see where T1 end up, but if they lose, then they've probably if they lose to IG and they go out in 17th place, then they've probably had the worst worlds in terms of expected placement versus actual placement. Like surely that's going to be like the
Yeah.
worst of any team in history because they'll literally be
Yeah.
dead last. Anyway though, let's see who's fourth. I think we can guess. It's BLG.
Yeah.
Now interestingly, there's
I'm actually surprised that Philip put it first.
I was gonna save that. So when we get to Gen G, I was about to say, notice how Gen G isn't a 1.0 average because yeah, Philip's got them number one. God knows what that's about. I think he's just trolling us really. And while we're at it, let's do number 3 as well, which is Hanwha Life. So the top two are fairly obvious then.
So let me get to the BLG being number
Sure.
one thing, because I feel like the average should have been much closer to top esports and ended up being very close to Hammer Life. So I asked Philip about this, and he literally told me he's basically like kind of theory crafting. He's going very like future based. Like he says, "Oh, Worlds is in China. I believe in BLG. BLG will do the revenge run, so that's why he put them first."
Nah.
That's basically what he went by.
Well, listen, there's always going to be one team that does better than you think, and one team that will do worse than we think. So maybe
Yeah.
Do you think?
maybe that's right.
Do you guys think like the gap is bigger than ever between LCK and LPL?
Not necessarily. I don't
Okay.
think so. I think it's probably somewhat close to last year. Because like if you think about it, like AL was still somewhat close. Like they were a team who could take games off of
Yeah.
SK teams. It's just that you don't know whether you're like going to have like Silver Scrapes to be like T1 BLG level of finals, unless both teams actually show up. Like, I still think like we haven't seen the best form from BLG and Top Esports, if you put it that way.
I
Like
think BLG are coming close actually. Like the final they had, it was very very good. I think.
yes, but I
Like to
still
me,
think there's more.
Bean hasn't looked that close to being that good this year as in the final. Like it was
Okay,
very
fair,
very very
fair.
very
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I agree. But yeah, so it's like I think it's close, but not that close right now. Like probably after Swiss stage, I can tell you a little bit better
Okay.
because my my question mark is about the patch.
Yeah.
Like we had the 2 patch cycle change, and these 2 patches are quite meaningful, especially for the jungle. Like all the bruiser champions getting nerfed. There are some AP champions getting buffed. I don't know why Diana got like a mega buff. I'm not sure if that like she's going to be pro play viable, but like she has basically got her numbers back from the start of season, and that's when basically she was power farming the whole game and getting like one extra level of experience just by farming farming jungle monsters faster than the other.
That should be a buff for TES actually.
Yeah, but like yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to figure like there are some also like Caitlyn getting like an AD like base AD buff that we always joke about how like what is +2 AD going to change, and then you just see like Caitlyn perma picked or perma banned
Yeah.
at every worlds, and you know that that's T1's territory.
BLG
So
like Elk is very good too and Caitlyn
yeah,
also.
yeah, exactly. They also played Caitlyn release this season. So I'm not really sure. Like there's actually some stuff that helps LPL teams, if we put it that way, because the junglers are still pretty good. And I just have to say a little bit more. I still don't think it's that big, and I wish it's not that big, because otherwise it would be kind of boring.
Yeah, but I think a carry buff on junglers is more of a buff for TES and anyone's legend, for example, than for Genji and like not maybe T1, but like more Genji and HLE in the in the way they play the game right now. I don't think that's
Yeah.
much of a buff for them more than for AL or TES. Maybe for HLE because maybe like Peanut was a good Diana player over time, but yeah, if we see less bruisers, I think that teams like Genji or HLE will, have to pay for it.
Yes, I agree.
We rip the band-aid off.
How a life? Oh, we haven't talked about Chile. What do you guys think about Chile, though?
Well, should they not be higher? They 3-0'd T1.
I put them second.
Yeah,
I put them
you had
second.
T1
I think.
fifth.
I think I
You had
believe
T1
in.
fifth, man. What?
Yeah, because I'm more
Ah.
about recency bias than history. But maybe I will. I did the exact same mistake last year. So fuck it. If I have to do it the second time, happens, and I won't make it 3 times. That's it.
I put them third. I think Lee and I did a really good
Yeah.
job of
Aligning, yeah.
yeah, we kind of basically aligned most of the top 8 aside from BLG and TS,
Yeah.
which we swapped. I still think like if had it been like 1 month ago, 1.5 months ago, I would have told you like Genji and T1 were on a different tier from Humble Life. Now I can kind of say like they're a little bit
Yeah, I agree.
like they're a lot closer, which is why even though I put them third, I still think they're better than they basically were the entire season, aside from like the first LCK Cup, like the first few months where they won.
And even then, it was only 3-2. Like, it was very, very close,
Yeah. For me, it's like the biggest change is always about to like Peanut and Zeka. Like we literally always talked about how I still think Viper is Ruler and Guma level of ADC. Like there's no I even rate Viper higher in terms of how consistent he can be. It's incredibly crazy from my perspective. Because like regardless of how my life is playing or how the team is playing, he's never like I don't remember seeing a game where he hinted. And like even when it's like a very tough like losing position,
And they had
you
some.
know
They had a lot of it.
yeah, you still know that Viper can somewhat kind of make things happen for them. And that's the whole thing, it's like when you have such a consistent ADC that can technically also carry your games, it means that if you're not able to beat the other SK teams, like the top teams, it means that there's something wrong with the other roles or like the synergy or whatever. And I still think it was very like I think there was someone. I think I'm not sure if it was Deus or I read it somewhere in an article, like in an interview, where they basically said that everyone had issues throughout the season. They just came out at different points during the year, and so like we never really saw the full potential of the Hanwha Life probably until like summer playoffs, because everyone was struggling at different times, and like I still think the two that struggled the most were Zeka and Peanut. I think they recovered it really well. So now it will come down to like how will Life show up, because it's I still think they could easily make it to semis at least. But like every year, I come into Worlds thinking that they would at least somewhat make it to semis, and then they got knocked out super early. Like last year, I think it was because they got matched with BLG.
Yeah, exactly.
In quarters.
Quarters.
Yeah, and they lost to quarters. But like,
and it was an insane series, by the way.
Yeah. But like, if you think about it, like, no one remembers about how well I've making it like finishing the top 8, but like then you look at who they matched in the first match, and then like judging by that result, would you really say they only deserve the top 8? Not really.
No, I don't. I don't think so. And actually, the thing is, the BLG had this very difficult draw where they got out in 3-2 in the end of first stage. While Anwha Life, I think they did a very good job. They ended up 3-1 or something, or 3-0 maybe.
3-1.
So yeah, it's just unfair that they matched BLG in the end, and that actually it was, I think, the moment where BLG kind of understood that they needed to put in Shun instead of Wei, I think. So yeah, kind of it was a hard matchup for them, and the series was still insane. I don't remember if it went to 4 or 5 games, but I know that
I think it was a
game
3-2.
Maybe, and anyway, all the game were super close, and I think Elk carried that one very hard actually against Viper. So
oh no, it was a 3-1. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, and Elk carried very hard, and yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to see that also, because when you talk about a Caitlyn buff, I think both Viper and Elk are very good Caitlyn players, so it can be fun if they met again.
True.
Let's see who's first. Any surprise?
I mean,
who's first? I wasn't expecting it, man.
Literally,
I'm still surprised by that one Yeah,
The surprise is that it's not
no
average
1.0 average.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers, Philip.
Yeah, that's true.
But there, and I think
And
Well,
actually,
T1
guys, I
second
think
is like the
I
history
I
buff.
think I think it's the 3rd year in a row where Genji is favorite, no? And it
think so.
still hasn't won.
That's one thing, man. Literally, I've been thinking about this. Like, we continue saying that Genji is the best team. I actually still think that this is the best Genji team we've ever seen.
Yeah, and I think
Like-
we said the same last
like-
year when they won MSI.
True, but
problem.
like, if you think about it this year, like, I still think this is the closest golden road we've had in terms of dominance
Yeah,
to like
I was going to say that,
JDG
like how
level.
dominant they've been in Korea as well, like the fucking best league. It's
Yeah,
hard
so, like-
they
it's
lost to
impossible-
KT though. They
Oh,
lost
yeah.
to KT.
But the whole thing for me is like, if it wasn't for that LCK Cup thingy, we would literally be talking about Genji having the golden run,
That's true.
because they literally won everything else.
Yep.
And then
Even EWC, which was not in the Golden Road before, you know.
exactly, so like you're adding, like you're basically, you probably could have added like another two tournaments.
Yeah.
And they still won everything, and they still like they still show up every day. I still think it's like, honestly, like they have the best top and mid. There's like no way that you can rate anyone higher than those two. I think based on current form, you obviously got Ruler, who is insane. And yeah, the only issue for me with Genji is my boy Canyon. Because like he has had up and downs, he has struggled, especially when Genji were in not favorable positions. He was often the one who wasn't able to like snowball the game for them or like make things happen.
Yep.
Some mechanical mistakes here and there as well. Some of them very like major ones. But you know, there's always going to be a weak link, even in strong teams. So you can't really like complain. You know, there's someone always who's probably not standing out as much. But yeah, it's honestly, we always talk about Genji being the strongest team. I think if there's a year where we needed to expect Genji to actually be in the final, it should be this one, 100%. And if they don't, it's just like top esports level of curse, you know.
And
It's
I
just
think- I
that.
think-
Who would you rather
Yeah, go
win
ahead,
their first Worlds this year, Chovy or Peanut?
Ooh,
Man,
that's a rough one. That's a rough
Because
one.
Peanut's not got
That's a
another
very
chance
rough one.
either.
Yeah, I know.
No, I think Peanuts. Honestly, if we're only talking about history and like player's career and everything, I think Peanut. Chovy will win it eventually, you know. Peanut cannot. And yeah, no, that's a rough one. But I think the thing is, Peanut is way like Chovy is way closer to win it than Peanut right now, you know. But they both have a chance, honestly. So yeah, I would say Peanut, but it's a rough one.
I mean, I still think, you know, like if you put it that way, the deft last dance thingy from DRX.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Crazy story. In the end, it can create a crazy story.
it would be kind of insane. I'm kind of like just basically, you know, just happy for either of the two. I
Yeah, because
don't
you're,
really.
you're, you're a peanut hater. You're a peanut.
Yeah, like I'm a politically correct. I don't really mind either of the two. I still both are fine. It's just that, you know, I'll probably just shift to Peanut because he's a jungler and he'll probably never play League again professionally. So he deserves one.
Is there any team specifically you guys would like to see? I'd quite like BLG as well. Still, after they like couldn't do it for a couple of years, I would like to see Knight win it as the Chinese mid laner.
As someone who would love Chinese esports to thrive again, I would tell you IG, but it's mega copium. It's like insane level of copium where like I literally have to wish for the worst, which is T1 getting knocked out in play-ins to get like the other best result. And you're
now
not
imagine,
even sure.
but now imagine they get knocked out in play-in, and then IG is in a crazy momentum, and you don't know why YN Rookie are looking like they are the best form ever.
That's what, you know, that's what something that I wouldn't mind happening, but it will still be very like very very copium-ish. Another team that I would honestly want to see do well. Not like well as in like winning worlds, but like it. I just want them to like play well and not get messed up by sweet stage draws. Is KT, because I don't know if you guys remember, but like this team had some really bad luck
Yeah.
from sweet stage draws. Like I don't know if it was last year or like 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago, right? Yes. Where they got knocked out, but like they were literally matching like every time, every round they were matching like top teams. Let me check. Like, yeah, KT had to play against BLG, DK, Weibo, LNG, and then DK again. So it's just like imagine when you have like teams like I mean, not flaming, but just like Fnatic, like Cloud9, GAM, BDS, Mad Lions, and
Like
like
when
TL, and then you
NRG
have
got
to
through,
play.
wasn't their run? I feel like their run was. Yeah.
Y-
I know, like I'm saying
yeah,
G2
like,
was
It was
easy,
easier,
but
but it was
yeah,
easier, but it was not
they
like
it,
the easiest was last year FlyQuest, I think.
no,
FlyQuest
I
had the
think.
easiest run ever.
No, man. They played Weibo, TL, like NRG played Weibo, TL, Mad, and G2.
and they
Weibo,
lost to Weibo,
TL,
right?
Mad, and G2. Wait,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true, but
Fly
it was easy.
Fly
Fly
played.
last year was very easy too.
I mean, okay, yeah, they got the 3 easy ones because they played GAM, PSG, and TL, but they still played against Life and DK.
Yeah.
So like there was still Life,
Yeah, but still they had to win against 3 very bottom team to make it through, you know.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And then yeah, KT only Asian team. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
Let's crack on. So I'm just thinking time-wise, we'll try and do like 10 minutes per roll, roughly. We'll try and lock it
Okay.
loosely to that.
Okay.
So let's have a look at the 6th to 10th top laners. We've got 10th place Bwipo, 9th place Mirwin, 8th Broken Blade, 7th Doran, 6th Flandre. What's jumping out to you there? Any surprises?
I was expecting to see Bwipo higher, to be honest.
I'm just looking.
Like to
We
me,
all roughly had him in a
I
similar
understand.
space.
I do understand the Broken Blade being ace because he's maybe in his best form this year, right now. Still, I don't think he was that impressive at all in the final.
You had him above Bwipo
But
still.
I do. Yeah, did I?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
I'm the only one that didn't have
Yeah,
Bwipo 10th. I had him 9th.
Yeah, but actually, that's why I think it's interesting is that, like, to me, Mirwin should be above those two. I do think that Mirwin should be above those two, just given how good he looked this year. I do think that Bwipo and Broken Blade still rely a lot on pocket picks and stuff. While I think Mirwin really tried to get away from that, even though he still has those, he can still pull them off whenever he wants. I think he proved like hell on the meta champions, and I do think that's something that Broken Blade and Bwipo are kind of missing right now. Well, what's interesting with BB actually is that we saw him at EWC training the meta champs like Jace, Rumble, and stuff, the meta carries top laner, and still in the end, I haven't seen him. I think play those in summer, which is kind of like questioning like what will he do at Worlds? Will he only rely on his Kleds, rec size stuff, or will we see BB trying to play more the meta and stuff? It's kind of questioning, and I do think that Mirwin has an edge over these two because of that. I also do think that some way, if you have the counter picks against the best top laners in the world, maybe they can be a bit surprised. I'm not sure they will, because obviously now their counter picks are kind of known. But yeah, I wonder how it will play out, and I do think that Bwipo and BB might also have an edge over the best top laners because of the counter pick, while Mirwin maybe will have to play more meta stuff, and maybe it will not play in his favor because ultimately he might be worse than the best top laners in the world, and he will be worse than the best top laners in the world.
Still think they all finish in the same
Yeah, chair.
system tier. So it's honestly like it just depends on the day. I think I was the only one. Oh, yeah, I put Broken Blade higher. Just because in terms of peak potential, I think he can be a little bit better. Like I'm just imagining how like also kind of the team would play. And I
Driver in
kind
your
of
top
wish
10
and
as
hope
well.
that. Yeah, I still like BB, Driver, Bwipo, and Mirwin for me on the same tier. I still because I think Driver. Because I'm considering Driver, like because obviously like CFO has Driver and Rest, so I'm kind of taking them both together. Even though they have two very statistically speaking, two different playstyles. It's just that I think it's just like when we did the team power rankings, I think that like CFO G2 Fly are somewhat close. So it doesn't. I'm not really concerned with who's who's matched higher or lower. In that sense. Based on how I've watched games, I'm a little bit more convinced by BBs. Also because of the counter picks Ethan mentioned. And I also think that compared to like MKOI in that sense, G2 are more willing to bring out those when it really matters. I'm not sure if you had the guys you guys had the same impression, but like we remember like there was a CLED game from ADC Finals.
Yep.
And like that like BB will show up. Like I think that BB had like he did not have a magical ramp up, but like he ramped up significantly after MSI and EWC, and he stayed somewhat consistent until like the end of the season. I still think both BB and Merwin, like we talked about like in the past, was still below Kana. Like Kana would be kind of like a half a tier above them, and then between Doran and BB. Had we put them in there?
Really? You wouldn't put Kana above Doran?
No,
Okay.
I'm not. No,
Because I think we need to talk about the Doran case actually, because
okay, we can
Doran,
talk about it, but like for me, it's like I'm thinking Doran is playing against he's getting stomped by Keen and fucking Zeus, like smashed by those two all the time.
bro,
Kana has to deal with BB and Mirwin. It's like
he wasn't looking good against Perfect too, man. It's
okay,
like
fair,
against KT. Like Perfect is not the best top laner in the world. I'm not sure he is, But
fair, but it's like
no, the thing with
he's
Doran,
used to.
I think he looked very, very good at MSI, and I was kind of surprised by it, by the way. I think he played a big part in the loss against Genji in the grand final, and maybe it might have broke him actually, because after that it was not looking that good. Like I think in summer, Doran, like he was looking like his team. When his team was in a down, he was legit the worst player in the team. And I think yeah, the fact that G1 underperformed in summer is a lot due to him. So I just hope that he shows up when it matters the most. We are not used to seeing Doran showing up when it matters the most. He kind of proved it at the grand final of MSI that he he did not perform well, right? So yeah, and actually, just to come back on something, Bwipo being tense, like Bwipo being behind Broken Blade and Mirwin, I kind of remember why I put it that way. I think that Bwipo can have some very, very deep hinting moments, and even when his team like win the game for him, he can like be a complete passenger, and even sometimes get carried because he's just like inching. So I just do think that there's this factor with him that there is not anymore with Broken Blade and Mirwin in summer. So that's kind of why.
I'm going to chop off
I
the
agree.
next three. Got 5th place, The Shy. 4th place, 9. 3rd place, Zeus. Is it I mean, it's a
Ooh.
shocker that, like, if we'd have done this before the start of the season, there's no way you'd have Zeus out of the top 1, probably. For him to be out of the top 2
Yeah.
is a bit mad.
I mean, you can kind of guess who the top two
Yeah.
is as well by that logic, because
But
I
let's-
also
uh,
revealed that
let's
like
reveal.
Keen was my number one. Yeah, just go for it. But the whole thing for me is, I still like we said, like I previously said about Hanwha Life, it just felt like that also Zeus had said some up and downs, um, and that kind of dragged also the team down. And we know how whenever like players like Bean and Zeus are not performing, you feel like the team's ceiling goes down a notch. Um, like compared to someone like 369, who even during his off days he can kind of like stay relevant. It's like, it's both sides of the coin. So like if you really have a really good version of the player, you can kind of like multiply that ceiling. But like if it goes bad, or like he's not performing well, it goes down drastically.
Yeah.
I think Bean and Zeus are those kind of players, and Zeus has been like in recent times, I think, has struggled a bit more. When we were probably expecting most of us to have him as the best top laner. And kind of like for Bean, it's the other way around. Like Ethan said before, Bean actually has stepped up. And I also think that considering how the top lane meta is shifting, we might be able to see some of like, I'm just thinking like off the top of my head, like that Jax buff with his ultimate, like
Plus 30 armor, yeah.
I'm not sure if Lee has followed game patch notes,
No.
but like like Riot Games literally said, yes, we want Jax at Worlds, and we want him to like be a bonker, and like he basically like got a mega buff with like getting like, I don't know, like 20 or like 25, 30 plus armor, and then like also magic resist.
And
Oh,
then
he was
someone on
already
the
very present in the meta.
and then
Oh, his
someone
ultimate, a
someone on the
level-
balance team then got a few thousand in their PayPal from Bin.
Yeah. It's like he basically got like 25, 30 armor plus added on his ultimate at level 6. So the moment he unlocks it, he can basically like starts 1v1ing everyone, because like he gets so much stronger. And you just think about like which are the players who can kind of abuse that champion, and you're the top of my head, it's like Bean, Zeus, and the Shy. More than Keen and 369, just to make an example. So it's like, I think the only one who can actually match consistently the top LCK top laners is Spin in terms of potential, because I still think that 369 and Flandre are a little bit lower. And you can also kind of like, if we go by Ethan's logic, like Doran would be probably somewhat closer to Flandre rather than closer to Bin, in that sense. But yeah, it's very competitive. I'm actually really excited to see them, because I feel like from 1 to 7, they're clear like another tier.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And I kind of wish we could see more of the Shy playing top lane, because like that like when it's Fearless draft, this guy will pull out like Kalista top lane just to mess you around, And
Yeah, well,
it just pains me to see, like.
the thing is with Dosha, he might be the Bwipo of IG, like, yeah, that's the problem. Like,
Ooh,
there
I
are
know
sometimes, there are sometimes with,
historically, yes, but I don't think it's this year.
Mm,
I think
like,
he was stomping Bean and like 369 occasionally, like in their matches.
yeah, I agree, but I think in a series, like, these players like being 369, when they are doing a good series, usually they will do a consistent series. While
Yeah.
Doshai, he can have game 1 where he completely stomped the opponent, while game 2, he get completely stomped for some reason, and then game 3, he gets stomped, but then somehow he recover in the game and just, like, is the first damage in the game, like, for some reason. Like, it can go all the ways with this guy, and I do think that is the big question mark. And the thing is, if Doshai plays at his best, which we know he already did at Worlds, right? So he did it in 2023, he did it in 2018. If he can recover that kind of, peak form he already reached, I think he can be a very good threat for this top 5 too, Um, and yeah, I do think that to me, Flandre, Doran are maybe are maybe a tier lower the 5 others.
Yeah,
And I do
Well,
think
it
that
shows in the
Deshai
average.
can go like very high as well as he can go to maybe even Broken Blade Mirwin tier, you know.
fair.
Okay,
So yeah, it's kind of and just to close, I think we need to to talk about Keen a bit. I do think Keen, like I know I already said it in this show, but I do think Keen to me is the MVP of the year. You know, if I have to have one MVP of the year,
Ooh.
to me is above Chovy because of how we overperformed over all his opponents all this year. You know, like I do think he's the one who has been consistent all year. I do think that when his team is behind, he's the only one who's still, you know, trying to make stuff happen. While Chovy, I do think that he's, you know, trying to farm up and ramp up in the game, but you won't like obviously he will sometimes, but you won't see him consistently trying to make stuff happen. You know, while Keen, I do think he's that kind of guy, and also he's just too good at every champions. Like the fearless draft suits him too well because he's just like he can play anything from weak side to strong side to carry the top laner to bruisers. While I do think like Bean, you know, is more bruiser favored, while Zeus is more, you know, carry favored. Like everyone has their flaws. While Keen, I do think is like a very very complete player. And in the top lane, I do think it's very rare right now to have a player that is that, you know, complete.
okay. From now on, we will do 10 minutes per role. Otherwise, we're fucked. So
Sorry for
I'm
that.
gonna be watching like a hawk now. Jungle
Okay.
number 10, Wei. 9, Stumond. 8, Cuz. 7, Peanut. And 6, got our EU import Shadow and Davide's best friend. And you taught him
Ooh.
everything he knows at that gaming cafe apparently as well. Um,
Yeah.
what were our
Honestly, I
thoughts here?
still think it's like
Oh, go on.
yeah, it's like I think this is the most stacked role we have in the entire like tournament. I'm not sure if you guys agree, but like
Yep.
me thinking like Way's like number 10, I'm like, what?
Even coming from like an
And then
EU
you see Stu
perspective, Elyoya and Razork are not people like we think we're sending weak players in those roles, and they can't crack the top 10.
Yeah, but if I'm looking at the averages and like Wei, Iliolia, and Junja are both
Oh, they're
all
all
rated with
literally
11
exactly the
average.
same.
So
Yeah.
they're like technically basically same ranking. And then after that you have Razork.
Razork was on. Oh no, yeah, Ginger. I'm gonna put JJ for Ginger. So technically, there's 3 players locked in there, and then Skewmon
And I
covering
do
for
think
time as
Ilya
well.
and Junja are looking better than Wei, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, wait, I'm just trying to see because I put them 10th and then you put them 12. You put him 12.
Wei? Yeah, maybe. I put him
Yeah.
very low because I'm really not inspired by this guy.
And then
Like even
Philip
season, not even summer, like
and then
the whole year.
Philip trolled it the other way around by putting him in 5th. No, 6th, sorry. So I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, so the whole thing for me is like about like junglers is that it's so like they're so pivotal in I think how teams will perform at Worlds. Like they will this like on a large case, on a big case, like decide how teams will perform, and just judging by how many there are, it's so close, but it can also be such a major jungle diff depending on how the players each individually show up on the day.
Yeah.
Because I think like I definitely see a world where Skewmon matches Peanut or like matches Cuz easily. Or like even wins against them, but then maybe like in the next round you see like Peanut stomping Skewmon the other way around, you know.
Yeah.
Um
I think it depends on the game plan, you know, and the draft and a lot of things
Yeah,
actually.
exactly. But I think like from Elioya, J, like way and up until Shadow, and also I think also the fifth player on our list, it's somewhat close. So just like we
Agree.
were talking about like IG Fly, Fly G2 and CFO feeling the same tier. I think that Inspired till Way, like those players can like be somewhat
And you
feeling
included
the
Yoya
same.
and Junja in it, right?
More, yes, I think so. Because I still think Junja is super good at pushing snowballing leads. So, like that's how he played in CFO. It's just like it's just that I think some of the players excel in some things better than the others.
Mhm.
But then, if you consider the overall package, they're somewhat balancing out. So like I still think like someone who like Ilioya, Junja, Shadow are super good at pulling off like early game stuff. Then you have like someone who like Skumon or like Inspired who can also kind of play like different champions or like in a particular way that benefits themselves.
Yeah.
And then they will play around their team rather than having like them playing directly for the team, you know. They kind of need to enable themselves so they can actually be relevant. But like I said, depending on the draft, depending on how they show up on the day, I still think that these five, like 6 guys, 7, 8 guys are all in the ballpark. Obviously, the average rating were a little bit scuffed there. I still think we all agree that Inspired is the best EU like Western jungler. Sorry,
Sure. Sure.
and I think that if there's a team like if there's a jungler who can kind of also try to match in the top Korean players, it would probably be him. I would happy to see Skuman also do that, or like Alioya do
He has the
that.
potential. Yeah, I think
Yes,
Skumon
the
has the potential.
potential, but we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it yet,
Yeah.
internationally speaking, because like G2 didn't play that
Yeah,
well
and
as
even
G did.
actually even at EWC when they won against BLG, actually Skumon wasn't like the major part of it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Let's do 4 and 3. And you say about how stacked jungle is. I think that shows perfectly these two don't get in the top two. So we've got Tarzan number 4, and then Canyon number 3. Generally,
I mean, they're basically same rated. Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah, true.
it's it's
Um,
it's
that's kind of
It's
mad.
kind of fair actually that they have the same rating, I think,
yeah.
because they're on a different tier than the other one that we're mentioning, but still they are like very very close.
Actually, I don't know if I copy and pasted this. A bit weird. I think Canyon should be 3.0. The rest seem fine.
Oh,
I don't
really?
know how that's
Oh,
happened, but that should be like a straight 3.
okay.
So
I
just
But
would
like
yeah,
even say that I would even say that if it wasn't for Canyon being in GNG, I would even say that Tarzan has looked like more um he has looked better overall this year, you know.
I agree.
It's just that Canyon plays on a better team, but I do think that Tarzan just had more carry potential in AL and carried more series and games for AL than Canyon did for Genji, like way more. Like
Yeah,
it's not even close, you know.
I was the only one who put Canyon below Tarzan. I think that, like Ethan said, it's Tarzan is a lot more pivotal and core to how AL plays compared to like how Canyon has been playing this year on Genji. So I gave a lot of importance to that, which then kind of explains the top two as well. Like my top two. But I think like Canyon has had much bigger up and downs compared to Tarzan this season. I'm not, but it's very clear that both of them are still like somewhat higher than the other ones.
Yeah, and actually you can get rid of the fact that there's a team that is better than the other, you know. And
Yeah,
Canyon, you know, even though he's not the shiniest player in GNG, he still does, for the most part, he still do his job, you know.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
still looking mostly good, even though he has some
Off
game
games.
that were some of games, yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, I just do think that the fact that Genji is better than AL right now, just like you can put Tarzan over Canyon because of that. Like you can actually because of individual level, but if you have to take in consideration the fact that they're inside a team that is performing better than another and everything, I do think that it's very close and that Canyon can have the upper end. And yeah, I would be, you know, I would be interested to see how Canyon would do in AL, for example, because he would have to carry more weight on his shoulder. And
Yeah,
I would like to see a Canyon like that when exactly like he did when he was at Damwon actually,
DK. Yeah,
um, just to see like if he still has it, you know, because right now we can't see it. So yeah, I would be glad to that maybe one day we'll see a Canyon that has more responsibilities.
true. top 2.
1-2.
Kanavi is
Kanavi
1.
owner.
No, Kanavi actually is 1.25 because I
So I
feel
copy and pasted this. I don't know why it's gone weird.
Okay.
yeah.
So
Yeah, because I copy pasted as well. Probably like the formula from Excel to Google Sheets kind of messed up.
maybe.
We kind of agree the fact that Kanavi is clearly the best one. I think
Again, it's just our troll that didn't put Kanavi number 1.
yeah, it's always him, the LPL guy, Philip. Um, I still like just like by following the same logic we used on Tarzan. Like Kanavi is that kind of player for top esports. I actually think that Kanavi has even more weight than Tarzan.
Yeah.
On top on Tess. Just because like he can literally kind of decide the fate of the team, or like the fate of like the first 20 minutes of the game on his own. So it's like the fact that Top has been able to consistently be at such a high level all season long. A lot of it goes to him, and yeah, obviously Owner for me, it's I think Owner has been the best jungler in the LCK, like in terms of consistency.
Yeah.
You
If you
could
take the whole
say that
season, I think he has been the best in the world, maybe.
yeah. Ooh.
Close to 1,000 this year. I do think it's close to 1,000, but it's like
Okay,
them
fair.
two might have been
Fair.
the best in the world
Fair.
over the year.
I could see that coming, but it's like also like but also Owner is kind of that player like on T1 that decides kind of the fate of T1, especially like in the first 15-20 minutes. Like he has been doing so much stuff for the team, and actually even when T1 was struggling, he was still able to keep the team up, or like let them win, or like be in good positions when they shouldn't have been.
Yeah. And kind of only by his own, which is kind of crazy.
Yes.
So yeah, I think Honor, as Davide said, he has been the best player in T1 overall this year. And I think that's kind of the only year when I can say that, I think. Like last year he was looking kind of good all season, but I do think that maybe maybe Zeus was a bit better than him over the whole season. While I do, and maybe Guma was actually very good too. But right now, I do think that Honor is like no contest the best player in T1 if you take the whole year, in terms of consistency and everything. And I think that's kind of the first year when we can say that about Honor. So I'm very happy for him that finally, he's becoming that monster of consistency that we were waiting for him.
Let's do mid lane. So we've got number 10, Rookie, 9, Caps, 8, Cream, 7, Shanks, 6, Honku. I'm just seeing if the and actually 6 Honku is pretty much tied with number 5 as well, so we do that well, which is Zeka.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
This is an interesting one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how
Actually,
many
I think
times Rookie
after
would come into Worlds in rankings sandwiched between 2 EU representatives. So he's just behind. He's just behind Caps, and he's just ahead of Jojo Pion.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
honestly, he has not looking his best at all this year. Like, or at least this summer. This summer, I think that him and Wei were a big part of IG. Losing the track. Because I do think that, as I said, top is kind of volatile. So anyway, but like bot lane was very, very consistent and very good. Maybe the best in LPL actually, and especially Gala. While I do think that for Rookie, I think he's not helped by Wei, that is maybe like not the best in early game, that has some very weird choices at some points. But I do also think that Rookie, when it comes to mid-game decision making, when it comes to being clutch, he has lost that a bit. Um, and I hope we can see him like go back on his feet. And I do think that the very interesting one is Onq being on the same the same average as Zeka. Like I do think Onq is very good. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen much of him in LCP. But every time I saw it internationally, I was completely shocked. And I saw some clips about him this year. I saw him like roll over with a big Akali clip on against the Silas during the LCP summer. But yeah, I'm wondering, like, because he had no expectation upon his shoulder when he came to like, or at least like maybe he had some, but not as much as he has now when it came to MSI and first end. And I'm really like, yeah, I'm eager to see how he will do right now when I do think that people know about him and I do think that people will expect some stuff of him. Will he be able to perform the same way as when no one were waiting for him? I'm kind of, yeah, I want to see it. I want to see if this guy, if this kid is really the new generation of Pacific, you know, after Maple and everything, and maybe like, yeah, maybe next year he goes to LPL and just join directly a good team or something. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see.
I'm actually been very surprised by Honkyu. Like pleasantly surprised. It's good
Yeah.
that we get new blood. I also think that's a new topic that we I kind of wanted to tackle maybe on another side of the episode, like about rookies, because there's like shout out. There's some like really young players at Worlds this year. Like we have an 07 and 06 in Team Secret Wales. And it's like it just reminds me of like just imagine like Faker being like 29 and then this guy like to just turn 18 like showing up to Worlds, you know.
It's crazy.
And they might, who knows, they might also get matched with one another eventually.
They did already at MSI, and it was a very fun match actually.
No, I
You
mean
know
not
the.
Hong. I mean the Vietnamese guys. It was
Oh,
like
okay. Oh,
I
yeah,
mean
yeah,
also Hongkyu in that way, but like
yeah.
it's like Hongkyu has been very it reminded me of LPL mids in like how they used to play very aggressively. I think that there might be some bias to the fact that I think his level of competition was probably a little bit lower in the LCP. But like I still think he would kind of fall similar to how like Shanks and Cream in that rating.
Yep.
Rather than like being closer to the top 5, I think.
Yeah, I kind of agree. And then same for Zeka actually.
True.
Let's see who the rest were then. The numbers show like exact 0.0 numbers, but I feel like they're maybe not correct as well. But
Oh yeah, you're so scared to lift the
no,
curtain.
because
Yeah,
I was
it's
looking
kind
at
of
on here, but I was trying to see if any of them were close. But anyway, we've got number 4 Faker, number 3 BDD, number 2 Knight, and then number 1 Poby. No, it's Chovy. So I was just saying these ones that show as though we all gave it exactly the same. I don't think it actually was, because again, Phillips trolled it. He's got Chovy number 3.
yeah. I think in my formula might have been scuffed.
I think I'm
with
confident that the players are in the right place. It's just the averages
yeah.
are not like totally bang on, but it's fine.
I still think he put Knight first and then Faker over Chovy. And I'm like, this guy is a troll. Now I mean, like, banner aside, I think we all agree that Chovy is the number 1. Like, regardless of results, regardless, like, I'm always like being aware of the graphs. Like, I still give a lot of thought and like weight to like individual performances, and like when there was like the whole comparison with the LCK mids of like gold, XP and whatever, it's like this guy had everything. And it
It's like
just goes
it's like the Cristiano Ronaldo of League of Legends.
yeah. It's like
It's like a stat machine.
he's basically maxing
You
out
think he's like the
everything
Messi?
aside from defense. Yeah. And
Yeah, kind of.
and then I was actually surprised because I was debating whether to put BDD over Knight. I put Knight second and then BDD third. I think maybe the like the thing that swinged it for me was Knight's late form in playoffs. I still think he was one like the reason why BLG won that series in the finals was because this guy sneaked a double kill with Akali. I was like, okay, like this guy knows like he can pull it off when the time is up, and I think Knight is deservedly is there. And then based on the whole season, I still like BDD was the second best mid. We've already talked about it.
I agree. Yeah. I totally agree.
So like I had to put him there, and then obviously like, how can you not count Faker? Even though like Faker could potentially like push it out, like step it up at Worlds like T1 usually does when the big season, like the big tournament comes around. He hasn't looked that dominant, so it's
Yeah,
fine.
but actually, I do think that Faker this year has looked consistent, While in the
True, I agree.
like in the recent years, I do think Faker, when it came to regular season, when it came to international before Worlds, obviously, like he didn't look that good. Like I think there was a gap between him and the top three. While right now, I do think that he stepped up a lot. I do think that in the summer, like in playoff, he was one of the guy that was keeping the machine running with honor.
Mhm.
While I think the bot lane and Doron were just not it. And yeah, outside of that, I do think that BDD. So it might be a hot take, but I do think that BDD as like he's the best individual player of these three. Like I do think that he has a lot more than, like, no, not say a lot more, but he has a bit more to bring to the table than Knight and Chovy individually. But I think that, especially as we said with Canyon, is just like dragged down by the rest of his team. And I do think that it's not helping him. It's not playing in his favor. Even in the individual ranking, you have to, as we said already, we have to take in consideration the fact that it's a team game and that he will be dragged down by by his team anyway. Like even if he's the best player in the world, it won't change that he has Dogdam and Perfect behind him. So yeah, I do think that BGG individually can be better than Knight and Chovy, or at least can match them like very easily. But the thing is that, and can even find more impact in a game. I do think so, and because I think that's the big thing with BDD is that you'll always find impact in a game where even when it looks scuffed, when like things are looking impossible to overcome, is the guy that can have an impact and just reverse things. While I do think that Knight and Chovy obviously they do that very well, but they are more often in a winning position than BDG has been with KT.
True. I think that Chovy Knight and BDD are like, it's kind of tough to say, but like I still think Faker on a like full potential would be a slight tier below the top three,
Okay.
and it would definitely put BDD much closer to Chovy and Knight than he is to Faker. In that regard, it's
I think that Faker at this peak can be better than this three, and I think we saw it a bit in in the World Final last year. But
yeah.
yeah, maybe he lost it, but I don't think so because he just show to the world, to the entire world, that he still had it in that World Final. But yeah,
Yeah.
Crack on. Okay, bot lane. Number 10, upset. And I will say straight away on
Ooh.
that one, I think that was pretty much tied with Masu. I think
With
they had the
Master,
same
yes.
score. So that's kind of Masu there too. And then number 9,
fair.
Hansama. Number 8, Doggo. 7, Hope. 6, Gumayushi. Okay, let's do number 5 as well. 5, we've got Elk.
You're so criminal, Ethan. Holy
Why?
moly, you're so criminal.
What did I do?
Why am I seeing someone named Guma placed 8th in your rankings?
Because in summer he
Please
hasn't looked
explain. No,
good.
no, no. Please explain.
Because in
And why did
summer
you put Doggo above him? Like, and Hope above him? Like, what?
because in summer, I do think that Gumayusi was a burden for his team. Maybe not as much as a Doran, but he was kind of a burden. He didn't step up at all.
Defend yourself now before T1 fans come at you.
Yeah, and I actually not only that, but I do think that at Worlds again he will prove me wrong. But it's the same with this guy. It's always the same. It's like he's not looking good before an important event or in an important match, and somehow, some way, he recovers and become the best AG in the world. Yeah, like, it's always the same. So as I said, I'm more on a recency bias than an history biased. So if I take the recency bias, I have to put Guma that low. And I do think
Okay.
that if you take in consideration only like recent results and the summer split, like the end of the summer split, I do think that Dogo has looked better overall this year than like maybe not overall this year, but at least Dogo has looked more consistent. And has looked. I think he has been crazy in summer, and he has been crazy at MSI. I think he was maybe even the best player at in CFO, tied with OnQ obviously. But I do think that Dogo is very very underestimated as a player. So I'm fine to put him above Guma UC right now, even though I know that in the end Guma will prove me wrong. I want to punish him for his bad showing recently. That's what I did.
You're trying to motivate him
I mean,
Exactly. I'm pushing him a bit.
because I'm sure he's gonna watch.
Of course, he's insulting me right now behind this PC.
because I believe like Masu upset Hans, Doggo, and Hope could potentially be in the same tier.
Ooh, Hope in the same tier as those.
Yes, I actually do.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not like. I think Hope has been very consistent. I think he was the second most consistent player. Or at least he was the consistent carry in AL. But like, I've never been always a big fan of him in terms of like how much he can carry the team. And I think players like Doggo, Upset, and even Hans to a certain level can do that harder. Like
Okay.
they're
I
more
don't think
meaningful.
we kind of
they're-
changed this year, no? This thing of Hope kind of changed this year. We
Yeah,
talked
but
about it, I think, before MSI.
Yeah,
It's kind of
yeah.
shifted.
I think they also shifted, but it's like it's still not that convincing to me. Like, and probably that's also because he obviously had a very like tough competition in the LPL.
Yeah.
He never gave me the impression he can one man carry or like show up as much as like Gala, Elko, Jekyll, which is
Even
why I
Guma
put
when
him.
he's looking
Oh,
looking the best.
that's why I put him as the worst LPL ADC of the bunch. Um, I still think like consistently, like if we have to like play out 10 games, I still think Hope would be clearly more impactful than Upset and Hans. But like I put Hope closer to them than to the other top 5 players,
Okay.
like top 6 players, because I put Guma 4th, unlike you. Uh, I decided to be a good guy, and yeah, I put Gala 5th, even though I actually think Gala is insane. Like it was really tough for me to put aside from the top 2. It was really hard for me to put like from 3rd to 6th, because I think
agree.
Jackie, Guma, Gala, and Elk all fall very very close with one another. And I was
I'll
a
reveal
little
those
bit
the third and fourth that are in that. Then
yeah.
it was Jackie third and then Gala fourth.
Yeah, it's like I still think like the same discussion we had with top with Kanavi. It's like Jackie is the other guy for top esports.
Yeah.
And that's I gave a lot of weight on that. I don't know. I still think Guma has been dragged down by how the team plays. I don't think it's necessarily him being the bad player. But it's more like the team is not playing around him, and he kind of gets always to do the secondary carry thing. And whenever you're always acting as a secondary carry, it means that you don't really have that much of an impact, which then transitions to he might actually not be that good or like that impactful. And I think like players like Elk and Jackal Gala have had more impact in their respective teams throughout the season, especially in recent times.
Yeah.
Especially among the 3, I would say Gala has had the most weight.
Yeah.
Because this guy is basically for me the Viper of IG.
And also he's the one-man army at IG, because like as we said, like Wei and Rookie are not looking that good. Zusha is very volatile, so it's like him that has to carry the team like most of the time, and it works, Like even though they ended up qualifying as the 4th seed, it it's mainly Gala that got them there, you know, that got them there. Like I think without him, they won't be in that top 4 at all.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about, I do think there's two players that we need to mention about. Is like Elk. I do think he hasn't looked as good as the other years.
Yeah.
If we take the whole year in consideration, while on Sama, I do think that he like evolved a lot. So that's why we see him above an upset or a Masu, because I don't think it would be natural to put him above them in another year. But I do think that in teamfight especially, or in mechanical champion, Onsama just stepped up a lot, and I do think that it's a good reward to have him like above the rest of the Western AD carries. And it's like, I think it's fair, you know.
Let's do the top 2. And I was just looking at the sheet, and Philip's got a mad one here because so we've got Viper 2, Ruler 1, and Ruler. So this is our first genuine number 1 across the board. Everyone put him number 1. I was
Yeah,
seeing
true.
Viper 2.0, and then I would notice on Philip he doesn't have Viper in number 2. So how have we got 2.0? And I was looking, I was thinking, where did he put Viper? He didn't put Viper. He's not got Viper on his list. He's got Doggo twice.
Yeah, I was like, I was seeing like Doggo 16th.
He's got
Yeah,
Doggo 16th.
Are
and like
we
10th.
getting scam actually?
Yeah, no.
So
I think
Viper was
I think
average
that,
2 of the people that actually put him, which is us 3.
we'll not count Phillips for this
Yeah.
time then. His vote is voided.
Yeah. I mean,
But
on,
yeah,
like,
I
on their
think,
day,
like-
like this could, I feel like those top 2 could switch, like depending on
True.
like
I
very fine margins.
I'm sorry, I'm still a biased guy, but for me, Viper is like I put him number 2 because realistically speaking, I cannot put him first. But like, if we just take out the player consistency and then individual skill, I still think Viper is better.
Like I do agree. Like I do agree in a way, because I'm also a bit biased actually. I think we have two big Viper fans here. But the thing is with Viper, I think that he's the best at fundamentals. You know, I do think that Fearless Draft is like suiting him a lot, and I do think that he's the best player at fundamentals when it comes to the game. In the sense that I think that he's the one who reads the best every matchups. I think he's the one who is the best every team fight in the. But I do think that the thing that is lacking, that Ruler has actually, and that he showed during the final, that he showed a lot during summer actually, because even at MSI, because I do think that before that Ruler was underperforming a bit. But I do think he stepped up a lot during summer and MSI, as I said. So I do think the thing that Viper might be lacking a bit compared to Ruler is this, like it kind of disappeared of him, because he had it at some point with EDG and even after. But it's that clutch factor, you know. Obviously, Viper like can carry games. We all know that. But I do think that when it comes to clutch moments, even though he can do it, he can still do it. I do think that Ruler has an edge than that over Viper, you know. And that's the thing that's the main difference between the two of them right now. And I do think that's why I put Ruler first too, because I do think that overall, when you take the player, like the full, you know, shape of a player, I do think that Viper looks better overall than Ruler. But the thing is, yeah, actually Ruler is here for such a long time. He has so much experience too. But this clutch factor is something that I want to see about Viper. I want to see him like clutching important games at Worlds. I do think that it's something that we haven't seen him do a lot recently.
Agree.
Let's have a look at support. So I'm going to do the bottom 6 because I think there's a couple of ties or higher up. So we got number 10, Mako. Number 9, Busio. Number 8, Kai Wing. 7, Peter. 6, Hang. And then I think we do number 5 as well, yeah. We've got KL, who's level number 5 there too. Is support like maybe the weaker role at Worlds?
Yes.
Yeah,
And I only asked that because there's like,
Totally.
especially lower down, there was like a
100%.
lot of names I just didn't recognize from like the minor teams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
what do
I
you
still
guys think?
think
Sport is not looking the best.
I still think it's like not weaker, of like if we put it in terms of like how impactful the players have been
Oh yeah, that's true.
from this, like I'm I'm thinking more about like how much does the support have an impact in recent, like in the modern, like in the current
Yeah. Like the role
game.
itself is very important in the game right now in the meta. Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, like I still like you can make a big difference, but I don't think like I still think like a player like a jungler and an ADC has much more like bigger impact than support.
Oh, I'm not sure about it. In competitive, I'm not sure about it.
Okay,
In pro play, I'm not sure.
I think it's more about jungle support rather than just support itself.
Yeah. Okay, I understand that. Yeah.
If we have to put it that way, I'm not sure if I can explain, then I
Yeah,
can
I do
really
understand.
delve down into the details. But like, I think it's competitive and it's much closer because like I'm seeing like Mickey X 13th, and I'm saying like we've been like glazing Mickey X the entire season. How is he 13th in our rankings?
He's below Alvaro and Labrov as well.
I think that goes because of recency bias, because obviously we just came off of the LEC finals, but like I think Miki, Alvaro, Labrov, Mako, Busio, with Kaiwing, Peter, and even Hang. I'm
Yeah,
not sure how Hang.
Hang. Honestly, Hang has looked way better than previous years because of I think because of Jackie Love and Kanavi. Like he's
Yes,
very well surrounded, but he still has a lot of flaws, and especially I think his champion pool is very limited.
yeah. I think like all these guys are literally in the same tier, and then I'm looking at Kale, and then the other top four, which we'll go into it later. I'll still think a little bit higher, or like clearly higher.
Clearly, yeah, I think.
Clearly higher. So it's like it's good to see that we actually can consider like so many players in a similar tier. It's
But yeah,
just that it's the rankings thing, so like there's still going to be some gap.
you, I think you know what like highlight the fact that support is the weakest role of the five right now. Like not in the game, but I mean like with players. Like I think players are the weakest of the five. I think that Duro being in his rookie year and being like the best and contested support in the world shows like I think the fact that support role right now is not at his best for but like for a player perspective, you know. I don't know if
We
you
can
see what
also
I mean.
talk about like how Duro literally has the trio, the best trio in the world of in Gen G. It's the opposite. Like it's like you said, like it's basically Hang in test. Like he's surrounded by very good players. But I think, like Duro deservedly has been the best support. I think part of the reason why he's looked so good is because Gen G is that good.
I'll just
Okay.
reveal
But at the
them
same
quickly
time,
as well,
he
and then you can
yeah.
keep talking. So we've got
By
number 4 on 3 Carrier, which is maybe a surprise. 2 Delight, and then 1 Duro. Continue.
Yeah, I was saying like I think Duro was the best support, SK support, no doubt. I just think that the difference he's shown has been amplified by Genji's performance
Yeah, maybe. But I
in
still
that
do
sense.
think that I still do think that when it came to like I think that it kind of showed when Duro was not performing good that Genji was not performing good as well, you know. I mostly think about Winter Split, like the LCK Cup and the
Okay.
beginning of the spring. You know, when like Duro was not looking good at all and the team kind of fumbled because of it, you know, because I do think the other player were totally fine.
Mhm.
Um, while I do think now the fact that Genji is so dominant is a lot because of Duro. Because as we said before, I do think that support role right now is very important for a competitive team. So so I do think like Duro has still like deserve a lot of credit for this Genji year. You know, I do think that of course he's very well surrounded, but I do think that the other players in this team like Chovy, Ruler, Canyon, and Kin must be very like happy to have him as a support, you know, and especially because as we said, I do think that the other players right now are not as good as he is, you know, and maybe it's part of the coaching staff too that helped him a lot, or I don't know, but like when I look at Duro play, I feel like he's always on the right tempo. I feel like he's always transitioning in the right way. Like sometimes you see him like there is something that Genji do that not a lot of team does, is that they sometimes they send the jungler in a lane and they send like and they send the support in another lane to cover a dive or to cover the weak side, you know. And that's something that where Duro has been so good, so consistent. And sometimes, like a lot of times, they win play on both sides of the map because only of that, and the fact that actually Duro also is maybe with Keria the best mechanically. I do think so. Like
Mhm.
I think he's very consistent mechanically. That we can see that his spike is crazy good. We saw that at MSI. But yeah, I do think that actually, if I have to be very honest with you guys, I do think that Delight, Duro, and Keria are the best right now. Like I do think that the top three is very clear. You know, I think On is right behind them, and it really depends on his performance of the day, because he's the kind of player that when he starts a series bad, he will mostly like have a bad series overall. While I do think that Keria, Delight, Duro, they have a very similar way of playing the game and understanding the game, which is quite funny because there is that top three in support and that top three in jungle in LCK, and I do think that it's very it has been over the years very close. Obviously, Duro is kind of new, but Delight Carrier, this rivalry has been going for a few years now, and yeah, it's very interesting also to see that both players, like all those three players, are kind of the only in the world that play Pike. I don't see much Pike in LPL. I don't see much Pike in any region actually. And these three are like playing them. You don't know at game 4, game 5, they will always have a Pike coming or a Pike that can sort out, and they will always perform well, which is also crazy.
We have to wrap because I have to go in 1 minute. Extremely quickly, who's winning out of IG and T1? I'm saying T1
Sorry for that.
3-0.
Oof.
Not gonna give one. Go on.
Uh, man, IG no T1 3-1.
I do think it can be a T1 3-2. Like I think they will not look the best for the start of the competition, and I do think it can be a banger because of the hype and everything, because of the fact that IG can show up in the big moments. So yeah, I do think T1 3-2 in the end.
That's good. So as long as T1 wins, one of us is going to be right, and we'll look clever as a group.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If IG
And if
wins,
they
then we'll look like
lose,
total idiots. There we go.
and if they lose, the world will collide.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll leave it there then. Thanks very much, guys. As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again very soon.
Bye bye.
Thank you guys. Bye bye.